When we had them redone, we got more money back because they failed to claim.
It was a $600.
It was a $600 claim for education.
Right.
When I spoke to this gentleman, who was not the original person I spoke to, this gentleman bought the accounts receivable. The gentleman who I had spoken with in the past, and who, after I would speak with someone named Laura first, and when she realized that I'm not going to pay this because they did not provide the service that they were hired to do, she would pass me along to the CPA, Daniel Muslakovich. I had an understanding with him that I wasn't going to pay it. Send me the rest of what you owe me, we'll be done. He turned around, sold his accounts receivable, and this gentleman came after me.
Who prepared your taxes? Mr.
Daniel
Taylor?
Muslakovich.
He was part of the company.
Under Helmut Klein.
Not Mr. Taylor.
I'm the
Mr.
managing
Taylor.
partner of that firm. Daniel Mazakovich worked for me.
So you didn't prepare the
And I
taxes
I
had-
prepare all the well, there's 2,000 tax returns. I do not prepare them all myself. I have a staff of people.
Okay.
And Dan was involved in the
and
tax return.
Dan's the gentleman whose name's on the return.
Let me see what you have.
Dan is the one that reviewed it. There was actually a Dawn that did our taxes out of the Richmond office.
All right. Well, what about this bit about the return, at least one of them
Okay,
being filed late?
what happened is...
No, if I
Go
could
ahead,
address
Mr.
that.
Taylor, go ahead.
Again, we were engaged to file, there were already 2 tax returns that they were 2 years late on.
Oh, I understand that.
The third one was filed timely with proper extension.
Okay, go ahead.
All of them were, the final year was the only one that we could timely file,
Right.
and that was done so with the proper extension. Throughout the process.
Well, I guess why wasn't it filed on time?
It was filed on time with
Well, with
Not my 2003, sir.
you may or may not be aware, but there are literally a very high percentage of corporate tax returns that are filed on extension. Unlike personal tax returns, the greater.
I'm not sure about that.
Unlike promise.
That's a lot of personal tax returns are also filed by way of extension.
A lot of them are. As I said, I do close to 2,000 personal tax returns, and about 85 to 90% of those are filed before April 15th, whereas corporate tax returns, the percentage is much more significant, 50,
If you don't
60.
file a corporate tax return on time and you owe taxes, is there interest and penalty that you have to pay, or maybe interest?
If there was tax, additional tax due.
Okay.
But, so all the taxes due by March 15th,
Right.
as the work came in the beginning of January, tax returns are due March 15th, almost, and again, most people are December year-end, so all corporate tax returns are filed due March 15th. Most of those will get extended through September 15th with
right.
no penalty.
Through when?
Pardon me?
Through when? Through what
Through
date?
September 15th.
That's the extension date for a
Yes.
corporate tax return?
And these were filed in
right.
beginning of May. Again, if it was 3 years, the relationship throughout this process was a very good one. The staff accountant had numerous conversations with the client on the progress. Everything seemed to be going well, and there at no time was there a breakdown in the relationship during the work period. I
right.
dispute unequivocally that there was any breakdown in the client relationship at that time. It was only during the collection process that there was a breakdown in the relationship.
The defendant doesn't want to pay because the IRS rejected her tax return. But is that enough to get her out of paying? Let's see.
It was the only return that was filed late, the 2003 corporate return?
That was the only one that was filed late.
Was there any tax-
Because of there was no tax
Okay.
penalties because we had money come back.
Okay, so there was no harm to you as a result of that return being filed late?
You keep saying
Except-
late, but it was timely.
Well, I understand what you're saying, beyond the deadline.
I don't believe we had to pay any extra penalties or taxes because of that. Where they came after us was the 1975, the 1099
Right.
form, where I made $1,975, and what happened is they forgot to put it in and take it out properly for the IRS to find it.
To identify.
I have a copy of their
identify it.
tax return showing differently, though.
Let me see that.
Okay.
Where's the 1099? Do I have that here?
It's
Actually, it's attached
I have a
to
copy of that as well.
Let me
it's
see that.
right- And if you look on the 1099, it does have both his personal tax number and his corporate tax ID number on it.
Okay, this is for 2001, miscellaneous income, I think I have it
Right.
here.
Right.
1099, this is recipient's name, Jeffrey L. Gates,
Correct.
Me.
okay?
Correct, sir.
And this is, I guess,
They filed it in my name when it should have went to the company.
okay, this is
Accident.
Oakwood Builders Incorporated.
Right.
Well, but this is a problem.
That's the problem. That's what caused all the
You know,
problems.
but I mean, I think what Mr. Taylor is saying is it because the recipient's name is you?
No.
Well, that's what it says
No,
on
the
here.
No.
problem is that
It
even
says
though,
recipient's name, you.
right.
I
yeah.
understand that.
But he has an S corp.
Okay.
So it's
And-
like a personal corporation.
The prob-
And
I understand that, but when the IRS, or when the IRS gets this 1099, okay?
Correct.
What they're being told is that you are getting $1,975 in income.
Correct.
Okay? It's got
And-
your social security number on it,
Correct.
okay?
And what
That's
I,
income to you as far as the IRS is concerned.
and I'm not disputing
So
that.
wouldn't that have to go on your personal income tax return?
What happened
No.
is, we like to run all that, we like to run all that through the company for liability reasons and so forth.
Sure.
Okay. So what happens is, if you look on the Quicken printout, all right, there's a sum that I made for the year, that everything that I grossed, everything that came into the company went into there. Then on top of that amount, that 1975 was supposed to be added to it.
And that's the.
And that's what they forgot to do
And she told us when we brought
On
that.
the corporate return?
on the corporate.
on- and we
And then
brought-
what happens is, when the corporate gets added to our personal, they're supposed to add an addendum to the personal account, to the personal return, showing that that 1975 was added to the corporate and thus subtracted out of the personal
Well, what was wrong with the way it was done this way? Why was-
because of liability and company reasons.
But
If
you weren't hurt by
no,
that.
No, if
No,
you-
no, no.
No, we were, if you look through the personal tax, I would like him to show me where the 1975 is.
Right.
Let's take a look. I don't see it attached to the one
It
you
was
gave
not
me.
attached to our return, and it was not given to us.
Okay, but you're saying it was filed.
The copy that you have, that I just
Right.
gave you,
So apparently you gave them
The
a
same
copy of
copy.
it? Well, it's not. I don't see it here.
well, you don't see that one schedule?
Right.
It could very easily have been removed, Judge.
You can, we didn't, we.
If you look at the Schedule C, it's an in and out, there's zero income. The only thing being reported on the
Right,
Schedule
I know.
C is that 1099, so that we could try to alert the IRS that there is a 1099, an erroneous 1099. And so it would only be reported on that Schedule C. It doesn't flow anywhere else on the tax return.
May I say something now?
Go ahead.
Okay. Everything that you have there is exact copies of what we got. The way it's been explained to me by two different accountants, one an accountant CPA firm and one by an IRS agent. The IRS agent called the IRS from the letter that we received from them, and the woman from the IRS said that the return was rejected because of the false 1099. There was none. They dug it up from their records, saying it was not recorded and reported to them by the accountant.
So whatever.
Why didn't you then go back to Mr. Taylor?
Whatever-
After five-
No, one at a time. Why didn't one of you two go back to Mr. Taylor with that when you got that notice?
I went to Daniel Muslakovich.
Okay.
I told him that I wasn't going to use him. I explained why I wasn't going to use him. Because I was concerned about the IRS.
Okay.
I did not want to be audited, just like nobody else would want to be audited.
Were you audited?
No.
No, we were
Okay.
not audited.
All right.
And I went back to him. I told him that these were the payments that we would make and that we would pay you everything but that payment because it was not accepted by the IRS. They were negligent. I don't care what he gave you right now. I did not get it. And this woman from the IRS, who I'd be happy to call right this minute,
Well, no,
did
we're not
not
doing
get
that.
it either.